Hi everybody, so today we have a case where we have an upper and lower full denture that the doctor tried to do a couple of try-ins and the try-ins haven't been working out because the patient's bite seems to be changing all the time. So I highly recommend to start with a Gothic Arch Tracer to begin with so you don't run into these issues. But when you've done a couple of try-ins and still running into issues, I highly recommend to actually go ahead and do Gothic Arch Tracer before you proceed, because otherwise you're going to be doing a reset over reset over reset a lot of times. Now, this particular case has some issues from the standpoint of where it was overextended in the impression, and that could be causing some destabilization, but we can address those things chair side. At this point, now we've scanned everything in occlusion, we're going to bring it into 3 shape and create some base plates first before bringing this case back into mesh mixer and fabricating the actual Gothic Arch Tracer. Okay, so I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to open up 3 shape, actually not this one but this one, and we're going to choose upper. Just choose any tooth, click on appliance, click on custom tray, switch from zircon to model material. Patient, we're going to go MP, and we're going to press OK. Now that creates an order. We're going to actually import scan because I am using a DOF scanner versus a 3-shape scanner. So I've scanned the dentures in the 3-shape format, but I can't directly place it into 3-shape, so I have to import the scan. So I'm going to do the upper first. That brings it into the software right here, and then we're going to go next. Now, what 3-shape does, it actually will automatically orient the best possible orientation that 3-shape thinks is best possible to block out undercuts. However, a lot of times when it does that, it blocks out way too much in the interior and brings way too much on lip support. On something like this, it's not an issue because we're only using it for a Gothic Arch Tracer. But what I usually do is I try to find the best possible path of insertion like this, and then I go set from view. Okay, and I block out undercuts at 3 degrees. Click next. Alright, so it blocked out a little bit here and a little bit there. Everything else looks pretty good. Click next. Now the base thickness I'm using here is 2 millimeters, and I am not using any impression gap. So I'm just going to go ahead and go right across the periphery. I'd like to go all the way out to the landing area, because if I need to trim anything, I can just trim it after that, but I don't need to ever add any. So I'll go kind of wide, just like that. It usually works out pretty good for me, because I usually end up, after printing, trimming it a little bit, so I'm not being overly cautious. Like this. Click next. Alright, now we have our base plate. What I'm going to do is I'll actually smooth this out a little bit, right on the edges. But like I said before, I don't have to worry about too much about it because I will be cleaning it up after it actually prints. Okay, so click next, next, and close. Alright, advanced. Those export visualization output, and then we're going to create another order for the lower. So pretty much we can do the same thing. I'm just going to put MP2 in here, and appliance, custom tray, model material, press OK, import another scan, which is going to be the lower. Alright, so we're going to click next. Once again, the computer will see which one is the best for blocking out undercuts. And in this case, I agree with the computer. I'll go next. I blocked out all these areas. Now you see that the impression goes way below the mylohyoid ridge. And you can see that, you know, we're well into the buccal mucosa right here. But I will address all those issues probably chair side. So right now I'm not going to change the size of my base plate, at least while I'm designing it. I might change it once it's printed and I might trim it, but right now I'm just going to leave it as is. Okay. So when I'm designing it, I'm going to go as far out as I did with the upper as well, all the way to the landing area, and I'll address all these areas that need to be trimmed after it has been printed. Just makes it a little bit easier for me to visualize as well. Control Z out of this because it's a little bit too far out. So I'm going to go all the way out to the stretched out retromotor pad, go all the way down to the lingual side, and follow all these areas. Like I said before, we're going to be trimming it out once it's printed. I know it's not looking pretty, but we're just kind of going to stay with this overextended area for now. Let's see what's going to come up with. Doesn't look too bad. Once again, let's smooth this out. Just a little bit in these areas. But we're going to do most of it after it's been printed. Alright. Next. Next. And close. Now we're going to go advanced, export visualization output. Again on both of these. So at this point we're done with making base plates and we no longer need to be using the 3Shape software. So we're just going to close that for now. And we're going to go into manufacturer's directory. And this visualization output, open it up, and we're going to go into here. That's going to be our lower base. Put it to desktop. And that's going to be our upper base on desktop. Okay, so let's close that. Now we will open our 3Shape. So if we go into File, Import, we actually have on our desktop the base plate for the lower and the base plate for the upper. Okay. So we imported those in, and because we've done it with when we were fabricating it with 3Shape, we exported it in proper way. Now they're aligning to these models, so that's no problem. So we no longer actually need these models on here, so we'll actually just close these files, or in this case I'm just going to delete them from here because they're saved on my desktop, and delete this one, and we're just going to keep the base plates in proper orientation. Alright. So now we need to actually attach our Gothic Arch Tracer to the base plates, and to do that, I actually created those files with some help of some friends, and I've placed it on a website called Thingiverse. So if you go into Thingiverse and type in Gothic Arch Tracer, this comes up, and you can click on it, and there are 6 files that you can download, which I just did a little bit earlier. And there's a file for the actual plates, for the holder of the screw, the marker for the screw, the connector, and there's actually a ball and socket connector too if you want to use. A couple of actual extra videos here, the link to YouTube, one in Russian and one in English. These are older videos obviously. But I'm going to show you today on what I'm going to do on this particular case as well. So I'm going to close this. We don't need that. So now I'm going to import from downloads these all of these things right here. Let's bring them in. All the files are here. So, and I need to actually make him a part of my mesh mixer. So to do that, I'm going to take each file and I'm going to select it by pressing Control A and convert to solid part. Okay, and I'm going to do that with each one of these little things. I have to press accept, sorry. All right, clear selection, do this one, Control A, convert to solid part, accept, clear selection, same here, Control A, solid part, accept, clear selection. Okay, Control A, accept, clear selection, and last but not least, Control A, solid part, accept, and clear selection. So at this point I can actually go ahead and choose all of these again and delete them because I no longer need them on here. So now when I go, I choose, for example, I'm going to choose the upper, and let's hide our lower, but I'm going to choose the upper and choose mesh mix. Now you can see that it actually brought in all these things in here. Okay, so this right here is going to be my upper plate. So I'm going to move that upper plate in relation to my actual base. I'm going to align it the best I can to that, making it as even as possible. Right there. Change the angle just a little bit. And I'm going to make it a little bit wider and a little bit longer. So when we actually drop it in, like this, change the angle just a little bit. Right there. Okay. Let's see if that connects to our plate. We can actually make it a little bit thicker. That way it's going to actually connect better, I think. Okay, so we'll leave it like this, press accept, and then we'll select this, and then shift and select this one, and click on Boolean Union and see if it connects. Sometimes it doesn't because these areas are not properly cleaned, so we're going to cancel it. And what I'm going to do is actually sculpt and make this a little bit more smooth so it connects a little bit better. Let's see if that works. Looks a little bit better. All right. No, not that. So we're going to go into edit, select this one, shift, select this one, Boolean Union. Yep, when it highlights in orange and in purple, it's okay. So I'm gonna press OK, accept. Now connected in one single file. So we have our upper portion done. So when it prints, it'll print all as one piece. And this is the piece we're actually gonna draw the Gothic Arch on. Okay, and now we have to move on and work on our lower. Okay, so on our lower, let's hide the upper one. Oh, sorry. Let's hide the upper one first. And now we're going to bring in our connector, which is this one. Okay, and that's going to be for our screw. Right here. Let's go up. Now, the reason I have this little peg right here, it's 18 millimeters, and usually our wax rims are going to be 18 millimeters from the deepest point of the vestibule. So what I will do is I'll actually move this forward first, and move this up to about right here, which is the deepest point of the vestibule, and that's going to tell me how high up I need this portion to be. And usually when I do that, that allows me to position my base pretty close to where it needs to be. I can drop it a little bit because sometimes it's too close to the upper and it makes it difficult to adjust the screw. But let's open this up and take a look. Yeah, we're a little bit too close. So I'm actually going to drop this down to about right here, which is going to be about halfway up the retromolar pads. And what I'm also going to do is, in relation to the upper, it's kind of at an angle, right? So I am going to change that angle just a little bit, so make it easier for the actual screw to relate to the upper base and not kind of torque it too much. So we're going to do that right here, and we'll drop it down to about right here. Okay, so we'll leave that as is. All right, and I'm going to press enter. So at this point, I'm going to go into edit, and I'm going to click plane cut. And hopefully this will work. Sometimes, there we go, I need to switch sides so it cuts the bottom portion, not the top portion. All right, that works. Click accept. That works well. And now I'm going to actually bring in another part of the files that I put into here, and I'm going to connect this to the lower base so it can make a nice connection. So I'm going to mesh mix, and if you look right here, that was the actual, little cylinder that I'm going to be using. So once again, okay, let's get rid of the upper so it's not screwing us up here too much. Okay, move that right here. Move that here. Change that to, actually, nope, Control Z out of it. So I can actually change the length. All right. It's not always pretty, but it actually works. So I'm going to find about 3 points to connect this together and put that right here. All right, that works pretty good. Okay, let's adjust this a little bit more this way. Okay, that's looking pretty good. If we turn it this direction and move it up just a little bit, that'll look better. So a couple of things I'm going to do. First, I'm going to press enter, and then I'm actually going to take this file and I'm going to duplicate it a couple of times. And now I'm also going to sculpt it downward so it's not protruding through my it's hard to see because I've actually duplicated these. Let's undo that for just a second. I'll delete these copies because I'm not happy with not being able to see. So I'm sculpting it down so it actually goes past my base plate, so it's not going to interfere. So like this, and sculpting down right here a little bit. Okay, good. Now I'm going to duplicate this again, and I can actually move it right here. Wrong direction, sorry. Alright, let's make it longer. Move it downward. Change the angle. Go up like here. Okay. Reposition it a little bit right here. That's good. Accept. And now I'm going to reduce this here again. It's not in the way. Actually, the faster way to do this, now that I think about it, I'm actually going to go to select, and I can just select this area right here. Maybe not all of it. Right, let's make this smaller. And I can just go into erase and fill, okay? Accept, clear selection, now sculpt again. And I can just smooth this out really, hopefully a lot easier. Come on. Doesn't want to do it. Let's try it again. Select this area right here. Edit, erase, and fill. Accept, clear selection. Yep, that did it. And now we're going to do actually use another copy of this and move that right here. Manipulate that again. So nothing fancy and nothing too pretty, obviously. That looks good. Accept. Select this area right here. Erase and fill. Selection, sculpt, and clean this up right here. Sure it's not poking through. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to do a couple of things. Let's go back into edit. So I need to reattach all these to this threaded plate first. So I'm going to select these two together, do a Boolean union, accept. Now this one, same thing. Accept. Looks good. Now this one. And Boolean union and accept. Okay. And at this point I need to attach this whole contraption to this plate. Shift, Boolean union, accept. Okay. So now I have my lower, which I'm going to be trimming down the line, and I have my upper with the plate. And the only thing I need to print separately, which actually I added it to the mesh mix portion, but I didn't need to do that. So if actually, let me import this again. The screw itself I can print separately because I have that file, so I don't need to actually attach it to anything. And the actual washer I also don't need to attach to anything. I can print these two separately. So the screw will fit into this area right here, and this can be attached with wax to this plate right here once we trace our once we actually trace our Gothic Arch Tracer and we have the pinpoint. We can do one of two things. We can just maybe drill a hole through this, but then we'll have to adjust for the collapse of the vertical dimension, or we can just attach this washer with wax to that area and capture the bite that way. But this is pretty much all I'm going to do here. Now this area right here is kind of messed up, but I wouldn't worry about it too much because it's going too low anyways. I'm going to be trimming it up to the mylohyoid ridge, which is about right here, so I'm not worried about this right here. Okay, so that's it, folks. This is how I'm going to do my Gothic Arch Tracer for this particular case. So all I have to do now is I need to actually export this, and I'm going to call this MP upper get, which is a Gothic Arch Tracer, and I'm going to save it as an STL. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing here, and I'm going to do MP lower get and save it. So I'll print this, this, and these two files. So 4 files total, and I can just attach it to my models, and we will have our Gothic Arch Tracer ready for this particular patient. So that's what I wanted to share with you folks, and hope it helps, and good luck. Thanks for watching. Bye.